I got a reply to a YouTube comment not so long ago. It was kind of unexpected because I commented about 10 years ago on a YouTube video that was the main theme from Metal Slug 6. If you look for that video, you may well see my comment somewhere in the list. And it says something along the lines of, this is a great tune. When I build my home arcade, Metal Slug will definitely take priority. And I got a reply to it like a couple of months ago that said, have you managed to build your arcade yet? And I said, I haven't yet, but still working on it. I'm nearly there, basically. We are closer than we were 10 years ago. And then I got another response from somebody that said, 10 years living the dream, whatever, something like that. It was a nice little reply. I found that very interesting, but it also made me have a good think, because I really do. I've always wanted, well, not always, probably since, oh man, when will it have been? Since I properly got into arcade games and started really discovering them. I mean, it probably started with Metal Slug in around 2007, but even sort of before that, probably. I guess I never really got the concept that somebody could have a home arcade until I realised that you can play these games on your laptop or at home. So, for a very long time, for at least half of my life, I have wanted a home arcade. And, you know, I've not really been able to do that as yet, but it did make me think and made me sort of relit the fire, as it were. So, in my home arcade, I intend to have, I mean, it's going to be a bit more than an arcade. I've always said games room because that kind of encompasses everything. So I've got a whole bunch of consoles, and for the consoles that I don't have, I have a Mister. So that'll be like one part of the arcade. All of them could hook up to one, like my big 29-inch Trinitron. That would be fantastic if I could connect everything to that with one of the nice HDMI switches. I've got an Otaku, is that how you pronounce it? Otaku Games SCART switcher. It only takes 6 systems, so possibly I might need to upgrade that, but it's enough for now. So that will be one part of my arcade. And there would, of course, be a section dedicated to retro computers. That's part of the importance of Retro Rack, is the fact that I don't need to have a whole sort of shelf of computers all set up individually. I think about LGR's setup. He has something like that. I think he has it at his house. And RMC, at the cave, there is just like a bank of retro PCs and home computers that are set up with their own specific monitors and their own specific peripherals, and that is fantastic for preservation purposes. But thinking about space and the fact that I probably want to be economical with the space that I have, Retro Rack is going to be the way forward with that. Now, there are going to be exceptions to that. I do intend to have my IBM Aptiva, for example, set up as its own standalone unit, because I've got the whole complete system. I'm missing the speakers. I assume it came with speakers, and they are not present, but everything else, I've got the mouse, keyboard, and the monitor that came with the IBM Aptiva. So I would love to have that set up as its own standalone thing. And if I ever were to get, possibly the Power Mac when I get that sorted and I manage to make it a bit quieter, maybe I can get one of the old Apple Cinema displays and set that up. That'd be delightful. I've got the keyboard for that as well. I've not got the puck. Did it come with the puck mouse? Probably. And I've got a couple of other things that would be nice to set up. Maybe the HP... Is it a HP Pavilion? Something like that. You can tell I'm really well versed in my own collection, huh? And of course, part of that exhibition would be this lot. This lot needs... I mean, you can tell this top shelf, this really needs its... Well, at least one more shelf, if not two. Because what you can't see behind all those boxes are more boxes. Just because there isn't enough room to face them all out. And you can probably see there's boxes on top of boxes here. They could really do with just being stacked as normal. So that would be that, and as an aside, with my consoles, I would have the games for the consoles all set up. I mean, ideally, I want EverDrives and like other flash carts for all my systems, because that saves wear and tear on the cartridges, because they don't last forever. And I know that part of the experience is, putting in a cartridge and playing it properly, but well, the EverDrives have the advantage of allowing you to play NTSC ROMs and Japanese ROMs and fan translations of games that were never translated in the first place, as well as stupidly rare and stupidly expensive games. So I do feel like the EverDrive is the way to go. But that's by the by. That's the console bit. Each system would ideally have either its own shelving unit, or if I don't have enough games for the system, just a single shelf of its own. That would be great. But yes, moving around. So we've got the PC section. And I mean, I'm kind of picturing this as like a U shape. You can see me sort of going around the room here. I have got sort of an image in mind. It's an amalgamation of all sorts of retro game rooms that I've seen, and really I had no idea what the layout's going to be like until I have the room to play with. But anyway, the final bit is going to be an actual arcade. So, initially, I would like at least a virtual MAME cabinet with proper scaling and proper sounds and proper joysticks. Nice Sanwa arcade parts, not the rubbish you sometimes get. I mean, I'll come back to this. There's another tangent coming. And also a virtual pin table. Because you can get a really nice virtual pin game for around £800, which sounds like a lot of money, huh? An actual pin game is going to run you back 8 bags at the least for like a new proper like 90s or beyond pin game. And when I say pin game, I'm referring to a pinball table. Back in the day, they used to call them pin games, and it just works as a term for me. So have a few pin games. One. Virtual pin. MAME cabinet won't be anywhere near as expensive. That will be a wooden case and an old PC. And I've got tons of them. I could even do it with a Pi. I've got one or two. I've not got a Pi 4. That would be the ideal situation. But I've got one or two Pi 3s knocking about. So I can make use of them. Think you can chuck in some extra RAM and stick a heatsink on the CPU so you can overclock it so you get a bit more oomph out of it. I think that would work. But I was just going to mention the fact that, well, it's going to be difficult unless I can source a quality CRT for my virtual arcade. Then it's never going to quite look right. However, if it's either that or it's a really nice high, like super high resolution 4:3 display, and it would need to be really high resolution. Finally going to get onto the tangent. So I've often seen it where virtual arcade cabinets, they've got LCD screens in them and they all look nice and crisp, but they don't look crisp because they're not scaled properly. When you play a game that's old and runs in like 240p, and you try and play it on a 1080p display, by default you're probably going to be faced with some sort of sampling, which basically makes this image fuzzy, so it looks sort of higher resolution, and you can do all sorts of filters and stuff to make it look high resolution, but they all look crap. What you want to do is set it so that it just scales integer, so you get 1:1 pixel ratio with the original game, so it looks authentic. However, you have then got the additional problem, and this is why you would need a CRT, of the fact that a lot of old games were not actually displaying in 4:3, not if you had square pixels. But the way that CRTs work, they'll just display whatever they get, and they'll just fill the whole screen with it. So the likes of, let's take Secret of Monkey Island as an example. You look at screenshots of that, or you try and play it on a modern PC, and it'll run. being quiet there because I noticed I've gone over again. Who's surprised? I think from memory it runs at 320 by 200, and if you play that, then it'll sort of be wide, obviously, because that's not 4x3. 4x3 would be 320 by 240. But you can't really do that easily, not unless you, you can't make it, you can't squash it down easily, not without either using sampling, so making it all fuzzy, or rendering it in a super high resolution, then squashing it down and then reducing it back down to 1080p, which is a big it's more rendering than, well, it's just more rendering basically. It has the GPU has to do a bit more work to make sure it's the correct scaling. I don't know if Raspberry Pi emulators are capable of that. They may be nowadays. I hope they are, because that would make life a whole lot easier. Because games like, most arcade games are the same. Street Fighter 2 springs to mind. If you play it on a modern system and you play it on a modern display, all the fighters kind of look sort of very squat and very wide. But then if you play it on a proper display and you squash it down, suddenly the fighters look lean and tall and like they're supposed to. But that's just a minor rant on, and that could have been a vlog itself, couldn't it? God damn it. I need to save these topics. But anyway, the point is, that is going to be my home arcade. And just one extra note, because the other thing that kind of spurred this on was the fact that I saw a fantastic post on Mastodon from Oz Retro Gamer. That's Oz as in Australia. In fact, I should have said Oz, not Oz. And it was the fact that Stern have come out with a Foo Fighters pinball table, which was surprising. Stern, I feel like they've got better over the years. They used to be rubbish. And you play Stern Pinball Arcade, there's nothing good on there at all. But I feel like I'd base this entirely on the Gojira table that I played at Arcade Club. That's a great table. It's not like up there with Medieval Madness and stuff, some of the best Williams tables, but it was good. I enjoyed it, and there was a lot to it, and you can tell that they really went back to the source material and did it properly. It was a quality table. So I have high hopes that they've got their act together and they actually know how to make pinball these days. But when I was looking at the Foo Fighters table, I was reading the news post because I was interested. It looked like fun. And hey, maybe if I find myself with $8,000 to spend, I can get one. But before I do that, I would like to spend the $8,000 on the Led Zeppelin table, which I found out they did. How cool's that? Would love to have that. It's got the Led Zeppelin 3 artwork on it, which is one of the better album covers from them, if I had to rate them. And there's one with just the Led Zeppelin 1 album cover on it, which it's fine. It's a little bit grey though. I think the 3 artwork works better as a pinball artwork. So definitely gonna get one of them if I have the means. But there was another one. When I was looking through the table listings, I found out that they do a Rush table! How cool! So, I've now got designs on my arcade being very much rock and roll themed. Now I just need them to do the Jethro Tull table that I pitched in my pinball video. The one where the whole stage goes underwater and you have to listen to somebody talk about hairs for a minute. Yeah, it really excited me, that, and it got me really thinking and excited about my home arcade again. Rest assured, you guys will be amongst the first to know when it does eventually happen. I am really, that's... You may laugh, but that's one of my big reasons for wanting to move house, because this place is kind of... it'll do, but it's kind of cramped. But anyway, we've been going for 3 times the intended length of the vlog now, so I'll stop there and we'll discuss all of this in a future episode. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Bwah. that a wave? It's a wave. I'll take it.